I'd been driving for hours, the kind of drive where the hum of the engine becomes your only friend. It was late summer, the air thick and warm, and I'd taken the top off my old Jeep to feel the breeze as I cut through Vermont on my way to family up in New York. Work had let out at 5:30, and I figured I'd roll in past midnight, 1 a.m. at the latest. The highway stretched out dark and empty, no streetlights, just the faint glow of my headlights, carving a path through the endless woods. I kept the speed steady, eyes peeled for deer. They're everywhere out here, and I'd heard too many stories of them darting out, turning a quiet night into a wreck. Then it happened. The gas light blinked on, that sharp little beep-beep cutting through the silence. My stomach sank. The gauge was busted. Had been for months, but I'd been told the tank was full before I left. Either that was a lie, or I'd burned through it faster than I thought. I wasn't panicked yet, just annoyed. "Come on," I muttered, tapping the dashboard like it'd magically fix itself. A blue service sign flashed by. A gas station symbol, thank God, so I veered off the exit onto a narrow, desolate road. Civilization had to be close, right? The road turned to gravel, then dirt, winding deeper into nowhere. I kept going, hoping for a neon sign, a pump, anything, but the Jeep had other plans. It started jittering, a low rumble shaking the frame, then a cough, like it was choking. I pressed the gas harder, willing it to hold on, but the engine sputtered out and the whole thing rolled to a dead stop. Silence hit me like a wall. No hum, no breeze, just the faint ticking of the cooling engine. I sat there, hands still on the wheel, staring into the black beyond my headlights. "You've got to be kidding me," I said to no one. I stepped out, the warm night air clinging to my skin, and grabbed my phone. Signal was weak, 1 bar, flickering, but I got through to roadside assistance. "Yeah, I'm stuck off some exit in Vermont," I told the guy, squinting at a mile marker half swallowed by weeds. "Out of gas. Can you send someone?" He said 20 minutes, maybe more. I thanked him, hung up, and leaned against the Jeep, trying to stay calm. This was just bad luck, I told myself. Nothing to freak out about. But standing there, alone, with the woods pressing in on both sides, I felt it. A prickling unease, like the dark was watching me back. 20 minutes. That's all I had to wait. I could handle that. I paced around the Jeep, kicking at the dirt, texting a couple buddies about my rotten luck. "Guess who's stranded in the middle of nowhere?" I typed, forcing a laugh I didn't feel. The quiet was suffocating. No cars, no distant rumble of traffic, just crickets and the occasional rustle of leaves. I scrolled through my phone, the blue glow a tiny shield against the night, but my mind kept drifting. What if no one comes? What if I'm stuck here till morning? I shook it off, told myself I was overthinking. I'd been in worse spots than this. Then I heard it. Footsteps, heavy and slow, crunching through the underbrush. My head snapped up. A deer, I figured. Had to be. This was bear country too, but I didn't want to go there. I circled to the passenger side, closer to the woods, peering into the shadows. "Just a deer," I whispered, needing to hear it out loud. Then, clap. 2 sharp claps, like hands slamming together. I froze. Animals don't clap. Clap, clap, clap. 3 this time, louder, closer. My chest tightened, breath catching in my throat. "Who's there?" I called, voice shaky. No answer. Just silence, thick and heavy, pressing down on me. I stood there, rooted to the spot, waiting for something, anything, to break the quiet. My heart was hammering now, a dull thud against my ribs. I told myself it was nothing, some camper messing around, but I didn't believe it. Not out here, not this late. I edged closer to the trees, squinting into the dark, and that's when I saw it. A head, peeking from behind a thick oak. Pale, too pale, like it hadn't seen sun in years. The eyes caught me off guard. Blank, lifeless, like marbles stuck in a skull. They didn't blink, didn't move, just stared. At me? Through me? I couldn't tell. My legs went weak, a cold sweat breaking out across my back. "What the hell?" I breathed, barely audible. My brain screamed run, but I couldn't move, locked in place by those empty eyes. Was it a person? A trick of the light? I didn't know, didn't want to know. All I knew was it didn't feel right, didn't feel human. I stumbled back toward the Jeep, hands fumbling for the door, my mind racing. Get inside, lock it, wait it out. But even as I climbed in, I could still feel it, that stare boring into me through the open roof, like it was peeling me apart. I slammed the door shut, cranked the windows up as high as they'd go, pointless really with the top off, and killed the headlights. Darkness swallowed me whole. I ducked low, curling under the dashboard, clutching the keys like they'd save me. My breathing was loud, too loud, ragged gasps I couldn't control. I didn't dare look out, didn't want to see that face again, but I couldn't stop picturing it. Those dead eyes, that motionless head. Was it coming closer? Was it already here? The footsteps started again, deliberate, crunching toward the Jeep. My stomach twisted into knots, a sick, sinking feeling I couldn't shake. I held my breath, praying they'd pass, but they stopped, right outside. Something brushed the door handle, a faint scrape, then a hard tug. I bit my lip to keep from screaming, every muscle locked tight. Then a hand, thin, bony, ice cold, shot through the open roof and grabbed my shirt, yanking hard. I lost it, a raw, guttural scream tearing out of me as I thrashed, kicking at the dash, anything to break free. My mind blanked. Pure panic, pure terror, nothing else. The hand let go, just like that, gone as fast as it came. Light flooded the road, bright and blinding, and I heard it, the low growl of a truck engine. I bolted upright, heart still pounding, and saw headlights cutting through the night. A tow truck, the roadside guy, pulling up slow and steady. I scrambled out of the Jeep, legs shaky, and ran toward him, words spilling out in a mess. Someone's out there. Something grabbed me. I swear, it was right here. He was a big guy, maybe 40s, with a calm that didn't match the chaos in my head. He just nodded like he'd heard it all before and went to work hooking up a gas can. I stood there, panting, scanning the trees. Nothing. No face, no footsteps, just the woods staring back, silent and smug. Had I imagined it? The hand felt real, the cold, the grip, but now under the truck's lights, doubt crept in. Was I losing it? The guy finished, waved me off with a gruff, "Drive safe," and rumbled away. I climbed back in, fired up the Jeep, and peeled out, the roar of the engine drowning out the questions screaming in my skull. I drove the rest of the way in a daze, hands white-knuckled on the wheel, eyes flicking to the rearview mirror every few seconds. No headlights followed, no shapes loomed in the dark, but I couldn't shake it. That feeling of being hunted. By the time I hit New York, the sun was creeping up, painting the sky a weak gray. I should have felt safe, relieved, but I didn't. Those eyes stayed with me, burned into my brain like a brand. Every rustle of leaves, every shadow on the road. I saw them again, waiting, watching. It's been months now, and I still don't know what happened that night. Was it some drifter, some creep playing games, or something else? Something that doesn't belong out there? I've stopped driving alone at night. Keep the Jeep's top on tight, but it doesn't help. Every time I close my eyes, I'm back on that road, pinned under that lifeless stare, feeling that hand on my back. I got away, sure, but deep down, I know it's not over. Whatever it was, it's still out there, patient, biding its time. And one day, when I'm not looking, it'll find me again. It was early June 2017, and I was driving through the night, somewhere on an interstate, cutting through nowhere. The plan was simple. Get to West Virginia to see family. A 6-hour haul that felt twice as long with no AC in my beat-up sedan. The heat clung to me like a second skin, sweat dripping down my neck, soaking my shirt. My kid, 9 years old and restless, was in the back, sprawled across the seat with a bag of chips and a half-empty soda. We'd left late, way later than I'd meant to, so the sun was long gone, leaving us with just the hum of the engine and the flicker of headlights on the asphalt. I was bone-tired, the kind of tired that makes your eyes ache, but I kept going. Family was waiting, and I didn't want to let them down again. The air in the car was thick with tension. My kid had been whining for miles about the heat, the drive, everything, and I'd snapped back, sharper than I meant to. It wasn't about anything big, just dumb stuff I don't even want to drag up now, but it left us both stewing in silence. I hated that feeling, the guilt gnawing at me for losing my cool. All I could think was how I needed a break, just a minute to breathe. Then, like an answer to a prayer I didn't say out loud, a blue rest area sign flashed by. I veered off without a second thought. The rest area was a sad little place, barely more than a shack with 2 bathrooms, a couple of vending machines humming faintly, and some benches that looked like they hadn't been touched in years. My headlights swept over it as I pulled in, catching a big white pickup truck parked off to the side. No one else around, just that truck sitting there like it'd been abandoned. I killed the engine, but left the keys in, figuring we wouldn't be long. My kids scrambled out, darting for the bathroom without a word, leaving me alone in the driver's seat. I leaned my head back, closing my eyes for a second, trying to shake off the headache creeping in. The quiet was heavy, unnatural almost, like the world was holding its breath. I glanced at that pickup truck again. Something about it bugged me. Who parks out here at this hour? My mind started spinning, conjuring up dumb worries. A breakdown, a drifter, someone watching. I shook it off. Too many late-night drives, too little sleep. Then the back door clicked open, and I felt the car shift as someone climbed in. I didn't turn around. Didn't need to. I just assumed it was my kid, back already, and I wasn't in the mood to talk. I fired up the engine and pulled out, tires crunching on gravel. Back on the interstate, I kept my eyes on the road, the yellow lines blurring into one long streak. The silence between us felt heavier now, like a wall I didn't know how to break. I wanted to say something, sorry, maybe, or just ask if everything was okay, but my throat was dry, and the words wouldn't come. In the rearview mirror, I caught a glimpse of the rest area fading away, and then I saw it, that white pickup truck pulling out right behind me. Its headlights flared in my mirror, too close for comfort. I shifted lanes, moving left, and it followed. My grip tightened on the wheel. I sped up a little, testing it, and the truck matched me, flashing its lights now, sharp, insistent bursts. My pulse kicked up. Was this guy drunk? Some road rage nut? I slid into the right lane, hoping he'd pass, but he didn't. He stayed right there, tailing me, lights still blinking like a warning I couldn't read. I slowed down, thinking maybe he'd back off, but he swung into the middle lane and pulled up alongside me. My stomach churned. This wasn't normal. I could feel it. Something was wrong, and it wasn't just my nerves playing tricks. The truck's window rolled down, and I saw him, a guy with a scruffy beard and wild eyes, leaning out, yelling something I couldn't make out over the roar of the wind. He jabbed a finger toward my car, his face twisted with urgency. My heart was hammering now, but I cracked my window anyway, just enough to hear. "Pull over," he shouted, pointing again. I hesitated, every instinct screaming to floor it and get out of there. What if he was crazy? What if he had a gun? But something in his voice, panic, not anger, made me ease off the gas. I told myself I'd stay ready, foot hovering over the pedal, just in case. I pulled onto the shoulder, the truck sliding in behind me. He jumped out, running toward my window, and I threw the car back into drive, ready to bolt. "Wait!" he yelled, slamming a hand against the glass. I froze, staring at him, my mind racing. Then he said it, loud and clear. "That's not your kid!" He pointed to the backseat. My blood ran cold. "What?" I croaked, barely hearing my own voice. "That's not your kid that got in," he repeated, his eyes wide, almost pleading. I whipped around, and that's when I saw it. It wasn't my kid. In the back seat, where I'd expected to see a small, familiar shape, was someone else, a tall figure, hunched over, draped in a dark jacket. No face, no details, just a shadow where my child should have been. My breath caught, a scream building in my chest, but before I could let it out, the back door flew open. The figure lunged out, long legs hitting the ground, and took off toward the woods lining the highway. I didn't think, I just reacted, throwing my door open and stumbling out after them, yelling, "Hey, stop!" But they were gone, swallowed by the trees, branches snapping in their wake. I spun back to the truck driver, my voice shaking. "Thank you, God, thank you." He nodded, grim-faced like he'd seen this kind of thing before. But my relief didn't last. Where was my kid? Panic clawed at me, sharp and suffocating. I pictured them back at that rest stop, alone, scared, waiting for me. I jumped back in the car, peeling out across the median, tires screeching as I raced back. The truck followed, headlights bouncing in my mirror, a lifeline I didn't expect. It took less than a minute to get back, but it felt like forever. My headlights swept the rest area, and there they were. My kid, standing outside the bathroom, arms crossed, looking confused and a little annoyed. I slammed on the brakes, leapt out and ran to them, pulling them into a hug so tight I could feel their heartbeat against mine. "You okay? You okay?" I kept asking, my voice cracking. They nodded, bewildered, and I tried to explain. stammering about the truck, the stranger, how I'd almost driven off with someone else. The truck driver pulled up, leaning out his window, and filled in the gaps, calm but firm. I thanked him again, my hands trembling as I gripped my kid's shoulder. He just waved it off, climbing back into his truck and heading back to his spot like nothing had happened. We got in the car, and for once, the silence was gone. My kids started asking questions, fast, excited, like it was some wild adventure. Me? I couldn't stop shaking, couldn't stop picturing that figure in the back seat, sitting there while I drove, waiting. What did they want? What would have happened if that truck hadn't followed me? The rest of the drive was different. We talked, really talked, for the first time in hours, maybe days. My kid chattered about what they'd seen, turning it into a story, while I nodded along, forcing a smile. But inside, I was unraveling. Every shadow on the road looked like that figure. Every flicker in the mirror made my heart jump. I kept checking the back seat, even though I knew my kid was there, safe. When we finally rolled into my family's driveway, I spilled the whole thing to them, every detail, every fear. They listened, wide-eyed, but didn't push me to say more. Years later, I still don't know who that stranger was. A drifter? Someone with worse plans? I never saw their face, didn't want to, and maybe that's a mercy. But I can't shake it, the weight of them behind me, silent and close, while I drove into the dark. What if I hadn't stopped? What if that truck driver hadn't cared? I got my kid back. Yeah, but part of me stayed on that highway, trapped in that moment, wondering how close I came to losing everything. You have experienced a different life, a phenomenon that you cannot explain. Why? If so, share your story in the comments section below, because someone out there has also experienced the same thing. Don't be afraid to like the video, subscribe to the channel, because the next story could be even more interesting. Share your story. I've been a trucker for damn near 15 years, hauling freight across states, through storms, and past midnight more times than I can count. It's a grind, but it's my grind. Keeps me steady, keeps me sane. Back in 2017, I was rolling through the Mojave Desert in California, headed for some warehouse in Arizona with a load of appliances. Or maybe it was something else, hell if I remember. The night was black as tar, no stars, no moon, just an endless void pressing down on me. My semi's headlights were on their last legs, dim as a dying candle, and I'd been meaning to fix them for months. Usually it didn't matter much. City lights or other cars would fill the gaps. But out here, in the middle of nowhere, it hit different. I had to squint every few minutes just to make out the road ahead, my eyes burning from the strain. I could have pulled over, waited for sunrise. Part of me wanted to. Just park the rig, stretch out in the cab, and let the desert sleep it off. But money was tight back then, tighter than usual, and every hour counted. It's a straight shot, I told myself, gripping the wheel a little harder. No curves, no cliffs, no problem. Still, the darkness gnawed at me, creeping into my head like a whisper I couldn't shake. Out here, alone, it's just you and your thoughts, and mine were starting to wonder if I'd pushed my luck too far this time. I'd been driving maybe 4 hours, the clock ticking toward dawn, when something flickered up ahead. At first, I thought it was my eyes playing tricks. Too many late nights, too much coffee, but it got clearer fast. A car, smack in the middle of the road, straddling the double yellow like it owned the damn highway. Its hazard lights blinked slow and weak, cutting through the dark like a heartbeat. I slammed on the brakes, tires screeching, the whole rig lurching as I stopped maybe a foot from smashing into it. It was a red Ford Fusion, shiny and new, the kind you'd see in a dealership ad. Weirdest thing? The passenger door was wide open, swinging a little like it'd been abandoned in a hurry. I sat there a second, engine idling, staring at it. My first thought was annoyance, some idiot blocking my route. But then curiosity kicked in. I've scrapped with drunks in dive bars, hauled loads through blizzards. I don't scare easy. Maybe they need a jump, I figured, reversing the semi a bit and pulling off to the shoulder. I thought about tossing out some flares, but hell, I hadn't seen another car for hours. Why bother? Stepping out, the warm desert air hit me, still and heavy, no breeze to speak of. It was quiet too, quieter than it should have been, just the faint click of those hazards ticking like a clock in an empty room. I walked over slow, boots crunching on the sandy asphalt, my shadow stretching long under the headlights. Up close, the Ford looked pristine. No dents, no scratches, like it rolled off the lot yesterday. I circled it, peering through the windows. Nothing. No driver, no bags, no coffee cups, nothing. I checked the back seat, even leaned in to scan the floor, half expecting someone passed out or hiding. Zilch. My gut twisted a little, that first flicker of unease sparking up. Okay, I muttered, this ain't right. I'd figured on finding a stranded guy, maybe a napping trucker who'd picked a dumb spot to rest. An empty car in the dead of night? That's a different story. I glanced over my shoulder, squinting into the dark beyond my truck's lights. Couldn't see a damn thing, just a wall of black stretching out forever. My skin prickled, like someone was out there watching, waiting. I shook it off, told myself I was being paranoid. Whoever left this here, they're probably long gone, I reasoned, but my voice sounded hollow even to me. Against that nagging voice in my head screaming to get back in the cab, I decided to dig deeper. Something about this car, too clean, too perfect, felt like a trap I couldn't walk away from. I ducked into the Ford, sliding across the driver's seat. The keys were still in the ignition, dangling there like a taunt, but the engine was off. Weird, but not crazy. Weird yet. I pulled the keys out, the metal cold against my fingers, and headed for the trunk. If there was an answer, it'd be there. I tugged the latch, locked. Tried the key, still wouldn't budge. Something was jamming it, holding it shut from the inside. My pulse kicked up a notch. I went back to the car, yanked the back seat down, and there it was. The trunk popped open just enough. 3 black garbage bags, squishy and tied tight, sat there next to a coil of rope knotted around the latch. I froze, staring at those bags. My mind raced. Trash? Tools? Something worse? I've heard stories, trucker tales swapped over greasy diner counters, bodies dumped in deserts, chopped up and bagged. No way, I whispered, but the thought wouldn't leave. I reached out, slow, like I was testing a live wire, my fingers inches from the plastic. That's when it hit me. I wasn't alone anymore. The air felt thicker, my neck hairs standing up like I'd walked into a spider web. I whipped my head around, scanning the dark, heart thudding loud enough to drown out the silence. My hand was maybe 5 inches from the bag when it happened. A gunshot, loud as thunder, ripped through the desert. I slammed my head on the car roof, pain exploding behind my eyes, and stumbled back, dazed. Then I saw him. Lit up by my truck's headlights, a short, stocky guy with red hair stood at the trunk. Overalls, shin-high boots, a small shovel in one hand, and in the other, an old hunting rifle, barrel glinting like a snake's fang. Our eyes locked. He didn't look crazed, didn't snarl or charge. His face was tight, worried, like I'd caught him in something he didn't want seen. "Hey," he yelled, voice rough and desperate, waving the shovel like a flag. "Hey, wait!" Hey! Panic hit me like a freight train. I didn't think. I threw the keys onto the front seat and bolted for my semi, legs pumping, breath ragged. "He's gonna shoot me," my brain screamed, over and over. I scrambled into the cab, slammed the door, and fumbled with the ignition. The engine sputtered. Stalled, damn it! And I cursed loud enough to wake the dead. Then it caught, roaring to life. As I peeled out, I saw him in the side mirror, still standing there, rifle in hand, staring after me. He dropped the shovel, waved both arms, shouting "wait" again, but I wasn't sticking around to chat. My hands shook on the wheel, sweat stinging my eyes. I floored it, pushing the semi way past safe, the speedometer climbing as the desert blurred by. My chest was tight, lungs burning like I'd run a marathon. 5 minutes in, I thought I'd lost him, nothing but empty road behind me. Then headlights flared in the mirror, bright and fast, closing in. That red Ford was on my tail, horn blaring like a banshee. "Oh, hell no," I growled, grabbing my phone with one hand, dialing 911. "There's a guy chasing me?" I stammered to the dispatcher, voice cracking. "Shot at me, got a rifle, something bad in his trunk. Help me!" The car swerved closer, honking nonstop, and I braced for him to ram me, picturing the rig flipping, me trapped in the wreckage. 15 minutes of that, pure terror, my knuckles white on the wheel, until I saw them, flashing red and blue ahead. Cops. The Ford jerked right, tires kicking up dust as it veered off into the desert, vanishing into the night. I pulled over, shaking so bad I could barely talk. The cop took my story, scribbling notes while I ranted. Go after him, I yelled twice, but he just nodded, calm as you please. We'll search when backup gets here, he said, sending me on my way with a promise to call if they found anything. Spoiler, they never did. I drove on, finished the haul, but I wasn't the same. That night stuck to me like oil you can't wash off. What was in those bags? Bodies? Some poor animal he'd buried out there? The shovel was too small for a grave, the bags too squishy for a corpse. Least that's what I told myself to sleep at night. But that guy, his face, that worried look, it wasn't rage or madness. It was fear, like I'd stumbled onto a secret and he didn't know what to do about it. Why chase me? To explain? To shut me up? I'll never know. The cops didn't find him, didn't find the car, didn't find squat. Years later, I still drive, still take the long hauls. But the desert's different now. Every shadow feels alive. Every flicker in the mirror makes my gut clench. I see him sometimes in my head, standing there, rifle in hand, yelling, "Wait!" like he's still out there, waiting for me to turn back. I don't. I keep driving, eyes on the road, but part of me knows. Whatever he was hiding, it's still buried in that sand, whispering in the dark. And maybe, just maybe, it's waiting for me too.